flamethrower attack at a Jewish rally Sunday has been taken into custody and are now being investigated. The FBI's annual active shooter incidents report shows in 2024 there was a 50% drop in active shooting incidents across the country. The report shows there were 24 active shooting incidents last year compared to 48 in 2023. This is ABC News.
Enjoying this local program? Find the complete Civic Media lineup at civicmedia.us or the Civic Media app.
For 97.9 WGBW News, I'm Lisa Hale. An unhealthy air quality advisory is in effect for the entire state through noon tomorrow. The DNR is urging everyone to keep outdoor activities brief and go inside if you feel symptoms like coughing or shortness of breath. The impact is a result of smoke from Canadian wildfires. The Brown County Board of Supervisors is meeting tonight to potentially vote on an agreement to relocate coal piles in Green Bay to the former Pulliam Power Plant site. The county, C. Rice, who owns the coal piles, and Green Bay have been working on a deal for over a year. The state of Wisconsin has said it will rescind a $15 million grant for the project if an agreement isn't met by the end of business today. If they do come to an agreement, the Brown County Board of Supervisors will vote on it in a closed session tonight at 7. Over the next 2 weeks, you might hear and maybe even see an increase in military aircraft flying overhead. Melissa Kay has the story.
The 2025 Century North exercise is taking place over central Wisconsin, June 2nd through the 15th. F-35s, F-16s, and other military aircraft are scheduled to train between 9:30 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. every day. If the planes are flying over 30,000 feet, they are authorized to reach supersonic speeds. So if you hear a loud boom and your house shakes, they may have just passed over your area.
Republican lawmakers are proposing new legislation to fine Wisconsin residents who intentionally misrepresent their pet as a service animal. The bill would change the definition of a service animal under state law to more closely align with federal law, which restricts service animals to just dogs and miniature horses. Residents who violate the law could be subject to up to $500 in fines. I'm Lisa Hale, 97.9 WGBW News.
The Packers back in practice. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports in Green Bay, where the Packers OTAs continue here at Lambeau Field. Anthony Belton is the Packers' second-round pick out of NC State, competing for a spot on the offensive line. I asked him if he's been more nervous or excited to be in the NFL.
It's a little bit of both, because, you're nervous because, you're in a new environment around people you're not really too familiar with, but also it's like you're excited because this is what you've been wanting to do since you was a kid, lifelong dream. You get a chance to keep playing the game you've been loving since a kid. It's like, it's a blessing. But you're going to be nervous at first a little bit.
Baseball, the Brewers and Reds series continues tonight in Cincinnati. Milwaukee winning 3-2 last night, thanks to another home run by Christian Yelich, named National League Player of the Week. Yelly, hit by a pitch Sunday, still managed to hit his 6th home run in the past 10 games.
He crushed 2 balls tonight that, sore hand or not, he's living up to his Player of the Week, outstanding.
That's Brewers manager Pat Murphy with Sports. I'm Mike Clemens.
This is your local Civic Media radio station. Want to hear even more? Anytime? Find all of it at civicmedia.us.
I'm meteorologist Mace Michaels. Cloudy tonight, showers and even a few thunderstorms. Areas of smoke as well. Lows mid-50s. Hazy sunshine from some of the smoky areas for tomorrow. Highs mid-70s. Turning mostly sunny Thursday. High upper 70s. Currently at 75 degrees.
Matt and Air on Air.
Congressman Mark Pocan is here. Are you planning on going out on the road again, having a couple more town halls?
Yes. No, Claire. Derek and I have been invited by Opportunity Wisconsin, so I'm really looking forward to debating Derek. My guess is it's more likely I will sprout a head full of hair than he will show up. This is important to let people know what's in this bill because there is a very good reason why Republicans are hiding from town halls.
Catch Matt and Air on Air at its new time, weekday mornings 9 to 11 on Civic Media and the Civic Media app. The Todd Albaugh Show.
Positive psychology coach Kira Sabin, it is great to have you back.
I love the idea of self-help, but there's also something called community help. We have become so divided, we've forgotten that our neighbor is really nice and makes great cookies and probably has the same concerns on a daily basis that you do. I think that we think things have changed, and I think we just have stopped talking to each other.
Catch the Todd Albaugh Show at its new time, weekdays 2 to 4 on Civic Media and the Civic Media app. The Dr. Kristen Lyerly Show.
It's Pride Month, and Northeast Wisconsin is blooming with opportunities to celebrate. Dana Johnson with Fox Valley Pride and Mel Davis.
Broadcasting live from the Civic Media Studios in Green Bay, this is Nite with Pete Schwaba, your inside source on everything entertainment from Wisconsin to Hollywood. And now, a guy who writes checks his mouth can't cash, Pete Schwaba.
Welcome to Nightlight, ladies and gentlemen of Wisconsin and the world. It's great to have you here tonight on a blustery, if I can quote Winnie the Pooh or Christopher Robbins, a blustery day here in Northeast Wisconsin. And it was blustery in Madison today, where I started out the day. Got rained on. I don't know what is going on, but we are having some weather in this state. Hope you're staying dry and out of the wind for the moment and listening to the radio and Nightlight. It's great to have you. Welcome to the show. Great show tonight. Great guests. A good question. Lots of chances for you guys to weigh in. We're going to follow this up with a great show we had last night from Madison, which was always fun, doing the show over State Street and back here on the home court tonight. Conrad, how's it going?
I'm wearing pants tonight.
Yeah, I hope so. That's the first thing I checked. So thanks for going the extra mile.
Yeah, of course.
So we have, boy, there's a lot going on tonight. I don't even know where to start. So I'll start by saying Happy Pride Month, first of all. I don't think I said that last night because I was out of my element in Manhattan.
Wow.
Doing the show from Manhattan last night.
That was a big commute.
It was a big commute. I barely made it here in time. From Madison, of course. So happy Pride Month, everybody. I know Civic Media had a great presence at the Pride Parade the other day, I think in Milwaukee and around the state. So that's exciting. And we've got, let's do this first, too, because it's June 3rd. This contest just started yesterday. It's the Civic Media Scotty Summer Text to Win contest. Our text contests are so much fun here at Civic Media, so you guys have to partake in this. They keep getting more and more popular, and there's a lot of winners. That's the cool thing. Like, here's what all you need. All you need is the Civic Media app. Then you listen at 7 a.m., 11 a.m., 2 p.m., and 4 p.m. Get the keyword and text it in on the text line, or not on the text. I'm sorry. The text line is not the app. That's a different thing, Connor.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I just figured that out a year and a half in. And then just text in via the app what the keyword is, and you are entered to win an hourly prize and a grand prize. And our hourly prizes include $100 cash and a pair of Milwaukee Brewers club level seats. And that's every hour. And once you enter for the hour, you are enrolled in the grand prize drawing as well. When is the grand prize drawing? That's like at the end of the contest, right?
Yes.
And everybody who plays hourly has a chance to win the grand prize. And there are two really cool grand prizes. A trip to Door County, right down the road here. I would probably opt for that. I'm a huge Door County fan. But Baraboo, Wisconsin, very, very beautiful part of the state as well. So the grand prizes are Wisconsin summer vacations in Door County and in Baraboo, Wisconsin, with gas money to get you there. That adds up. 4 daily chances to enter beginning yesterday, Monday, June 2nd, and it goes through June 13th. So make sure you play, folks. It's so much fun, and good luck. Hope you guys come away. I hope everybody wins. I know that's not possible, but we're all winners. So I was leaving today. I did some work at PBS Wisconsin today, and the last 2 times I went out in Madison, I got horribly sunburned. So today, in Vilas Hall, which has no windows, and it's just like a probably weighs as much as the Earth. It's like this huge stone structure. I think they built it in the 60s to make it bomb-proof with all the protests. So I can't see. So I'm slathering on sunblock. And do you use sunblock?
I don't use like the lotion stuff. I just spray it on real quick and
They
call
both
it
suck.
Good.
Today I did the spray. The
Yeah.
lotion works better, I'm told, but I sprayed the living daylights out of my neck, my face, my arms, and I'm like, all right, at least I'm, I got fair skin. I walk outside, pouring rain. And now I'm walking around in this mess and I'm getting rained on. It's like a sunblock rain gross mixture all over. It's going down my shirt. And I know there are people with real problems in the world, folks, but this set me back. It's like, all I thought about when I went outside was, this is so Schwaba.
Yes.
Remember your sunblock and then get rained on.
It's so cobbler.
So cobbler. Peachy C. And then this happened. Okay, this was interesting. Last night, I'm in my hotel room in Madison, and I call the wrong number. And the number calls me back. Do you answer that call?
Well, do you think that it's someone like?
I don't know who it is. I made the mistake. I caught myself and I hung up and they called back. And all I can think about is, how bored is this person? Like, if somebody called me on a number and I didn't recognize it and they didn't leave a message or hung up, I would not call them back unless I was just so bored with my life. Hey, who is this? Hey, what's going on? Why'd you call me? Who are you?
I didn't think this was your cell phone, not the phone that was provided with the hotel?
No, cell phone.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I haven't gotten a call in a hotel room in 30 years. I don't know what
I'm saying if you get a call from the hotel phone, you're like, ooh.
Yeah, well, that I might answer, just because who in the hell is calling me here unless it's an emergency?
Yeah. You don't know what's going to happen with that.
But you're not calling that number back, are you?
No, definitely not.
And if they don't, I don't even, 90% of the people that leave messages, I don't even call back, because it's like, Mr. Schwaba, your loan has been approved. I'm like, okay,
for what?
It's urgent. We hear back from you. I don't care. Stop calling me. I don't have a loan with you. But it's nice to be approved. So anyway, that was kind of weird. Hey, I think it's time, Connor, but we got to get to our question of the night. We got a good one.
Let's talk about the question.
Okay, question.
Question. Question.
Pregunta.
Question.
Question.
Hey, I have a question. Questions? This question.
Domanda. Question.
Question.
Questions.
What is your favorite Wisconsin city, excluding the one you live in? And if the one you live in is not your favorite Wisconsin city, just tell us your favorite Wisconsin city. What is your favorite Wisconsin city, excluding the one you live in? You can't count that one. And our question tonight is inspired by this study they did in U.S. News and World Report. They ranked 250 of the top places to live in the country, and 9 Wisconsin cities made it. That's pretty good. That's like, what is that, like 10? I think we're above average, Wisconsin, with the livable cities. I'm not good enough. I tried to figure that out on the air, and I'm not good enough at math to go 9 cities out of 250. Well, let's say if there were 500 cities and we had 18, that would be 20%. That's about 4%. So Wisconsin has roughly 4% of the top 250 places to live in the country. And this came out late last week. Here's how each city in Wisconsin was ranked from highest placement to lowest. Eau Claire was ranked the highest at 49th. That surprise you?
I thought we would have one a little higher, to be honest.
Well, I thought that too. And Eau Claire's great, but I'm surprised it wasn't like, Madison or Appleton is second. All right, here, let me get through the list. Eau Claire was 49th. Appleton was 53rd. This is out of 250 best places to live in America. So Eau Claire's 49th, Appleton's 53rd, Waukesha 87th, Oshkosh, Todd Michaels, if you're listening, 114th, Wausau, Brittany Merlot, if you're listening, 125th, Green Bay, Conrad, if you're listening, and you better be.
Yeah, I was going to say, I should.
170th, Sheboygan, 185. Janesville, 186. And Kenosha, 214th. No Milwaukee. No Madison. There must have been a criteria for the size, right?
I'm confused because a couple years ago, I think like 2 years ago, Green Bay was like number one place to live. Yeah. What happened though?
But there was a criteria for that.
So it's all criteria based.
Yes. For more information on how we rank. And this must have been, Traverse City is 250th. That's weird. That's a gorgeous area.
So what was number one?
Oh, you're going to make me scroll.
Sorry.
That's all right. I don't have it here. It's like one of those websites where you have to keep clicking. So I don't know.
Okay.
And if I was a real journalist, I would have looked that up before I came on the air, but I didn't. All I will say is Skokie, Illinois, 230th. Our neighbors to the south, Grand Island, Nebraska, 229. Nashville. Oh, Nashville's a big city. 228. That surprised me. So there you go. So that's our question tonight, folks. Let us know. What is your favorite Wisconsin city, excluding the one you live in? Tell us, 855-752-4842, 855-75-CIVIC. You can text us on the app. Or if you're watching the radio on the stream on YouTube, Facebook, or X, you can message us there too. All kinds of ways to get a hold of us. Just please get a hold of us and be part of the show. My guests tonight include the wonderful Rob Thomas. He is a Madison-based film critic and the CityCast Madison editor. And I'm getting addicted to this CityCast publication. They put out so many cool things about the Madison area. I know we have a ton of listeners in Madison. So Rob is going to come on. He's going to talk about some cool new films he saw, and we're going to tell you about toxic traits in Madison. The whole staff did this podcast, and they listed their traits about Madison they don't like. So we'll talk about that with Rob. And then at 7:20, our pal Todd Michaels, who is the producer of the Mino and the Mayor show here on WGBW in the morning. Todd is also a paranormal investigator, and he is going to come on tonight to talk to us about lake monsters and vampires and a flight that disappeared, if we have time to get to that. So lots of fun tonight on Night Light. Let us know your answer to the question. And we have a phone call, Conrad?
Yeah, Cindy from Appleton.
Cindy from Appleton. How are you?
Hey, Pete, how are you? I'm good.
Doing great here, too. Thanks for the call. What's going on?
Well, I don't know if Bayfield is a city or a village, but Bayfield's one of my faves.
I'm kind of ashamed. Pardon me. I'm kind of ashamed. I've never been to Bayfield, and all I hear is amazing stuff about the natural beauty in Bayfield and how gorgeous it is. So I have to get up there. So you've been there, obviously.
Oh, yeah, many times. I love it up there. I haven't been up there for a while, but I used to, when I was a little younger, spend a lot of time up there. So
okay.
Yep.
So how far of a drive is that, Cindy, from where you are in Appleton to Bayfield?
Well, when I go up to Bayfield from Appleton, it takes me a good 5 hours.
5 hours? Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
But worth the drive, obviously, right?
Oh, God, yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Cindy, thank you for the call. Have a great night.
Yep.
All right.
You too. Thanks.
You're very welcome. All right, so that's good. We got what would you say, Con? I don't even know. I think I know.
I was gonna say some city in Door County, but I think I'll go back to a little bit of my roots, and I really like I would say the village of Dundee. I don't know if it's a village or whatever it's called, but it's close to Kewaskum, around that area, and it's right by like Kettle Moraine.
Okay. Oh, that's a beautiful area.
And Long Lake is right there.
Okay.
Comfort food, you got the Hamburger House, and then you got the Tiki Bar Resort or something like that, beach resort, and that's on the Kettle Moraine Lake too. So,
gosh, what do you want, like the welcome wagon or something? That's a lot of info.
That place
That's
is
awesome.
I always go back there in the summer and visit because I got friends back in Kewaskum. We go out to the beach resort, have a couple drinks, and then go to the Hamburger House and eat some comfort food.
I'm gonna say city Madison, but I got to put Door County in there too, and I'll figure out my city. Maybe Egg Harbor. I'm gonna say Egg Harbor, Door County, or Madison. Those are my two faves. But let us know what your favorite. What is your favorite Wisconsin city, excluding the one you live in? This is Pete Schwaba and Nightlight. We read your texts next, and I play a really cool clip on Nightlight with Pete Schwaba on the Civic Media Radio Network.
listening to the Talk of Green Bay, WGBW, home of Mino and the Mayor.
Mark your calendars for heart-pumping, exhilarating action at the 2025 Queen Marinette's Run the River Powerboat Races in Marinette, Wisconsin on June 7th and 8th. The action will be nonstop as these high-octane boats reach speeds of over 105 miles per hour. Races kick off on Saturday and Sunday at 12:30 p.m. and run throughout the day. Free for the whole family, this is the perfect summertime weekend getaway. For more information, head to fishonmarinette.com and click on the events page.
Feeling better is about feeling all kinds of things. You want to feel healthy, sure, but you also want to feel heard and understood, valued, even, well, loved. That's what we want too. We're Amplify Health, and we think the best way to care for someone is to care about them. That's why all our treatments include a little empathy. Welcome to healthcare that's all about caring. Welcome to Amplify Health by Bellin. A little empathy changes everything.
Are you living with dry AMD? If so, you could be on the road to geographic atrophy, or GA, a condition that leads to retinal cell death and permanent vision loss. But with Izervay, you can
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay slows GA progression by targeting a key source of retinal cell death, which may help preserve your vision longer. Izervay, or Avastin Capted Pagel, is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
It's our Scotty Summer statewide text to win contest on your local Civic Media radio station. For a complete list of contest rules, log on civicmedia.us/contest-terms.
You're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off of you. You'd be like heaven to touch.
Well, what is your favorite Wisconsin city, excluding the one you live in? Tonight's question is inspired by a list that came out from U.S. News and World Report that ranked 9 Wisconsin cities in the top 250 best places to live in the country, according to U.S. News and World Report. Here is how each city was ranked. In Wisconsin, Eau Claire was 49th, Appleton 53rd, Waukesha 87th, Oshkosh 114, Wausau 125th, Green Bay 170. You're right, Green Bay. I mean, that was a separate report, but to go from number 1 to 170, what the hell happened here? The draft, I guess. I don't know, but I thought it came out okay. Sheboygan 185th, Janesville 186th, and Kenosha 214th. My favorite, I think I would say Madison. But I also like Egg Harbor, and I'm totally choosing that randomly in Door County because I like Sister Bay, Fish Creek. They're all great. Ephraim. Conrad said Dundee, Wisconsin.
Yes, I
place
did.
I have not heard of. That's kind of cool. So let us know what you guys think. On the we posted the question today on social media. Mike Desatel on Facebook says Pine Lake, home of Rocktoberfest, which is I thought when I picked Pine Lake as the town name in Wisconsin for the movie, in my movie, The Godfather of Green Bay, I thought it was a fictional town. I guess there actually is a Pine Lake, Wisconsin. So, but Mike says home of Rocktoberfest. It certainly was in the movie. Sarah Jean says, recently I've been enjoying Wapaka. In the last year, there is a record store that opened back to vinyl, Wapaka. On my last trip there, I explored some of the other shops as well. Super cute area and only an hour-ish drive from me from Green Bay. Have you ever been to Wapaka?
I think once. It wasn't memorable for me, though, I'd say.
There's a lot of lakes. My wife's family had a cottage there, and I guess the water, she always describes like you could see the bottom of the lake in like 8 feet of water.
Oh,
It's very clean.
That's awesome.
So I've only been there a couple times, but beautiful area. Matt Harper, rock rap artist Matt Harper. We got to get Matt back on the show.
Oh, yeah.
Is it about time?
It's
How
about
long has
time.
it been? Okay. Matt says Milwaukee. Not a big surprise for a rock rap artist. Thank you, Matt. Daniel Wheeler says, the town of Lilly, small on a map, but big in my heart. My grandparents' cottage was there, surrounded by pine trees, perched on a hill above the copper-colored waters of the Wolf River. Daniel is stealing my heart right now, Conrad, with his whimsical writing style. He says, endless exploration for my brothers and I. Great text, Daniel. Thank you. Layman Rob says, Kewanee, a city on Lake Michigan. Have you been to Algoma?
Yeah, I've
never been there. That looks gorgeous, though. It's right on. It's on the actual lake, not the bay, and it looks very picturesque.
Yeah.
I got to check that out. That's on my list. That and Bayfield. Monica Hale says Bayfield. Another vote for Bayfield. I had one of the most relaxing vacations of my life there, and the view of Lake Superior from the hotel was amazing. All right, that's definitely on my list. So keep those texts coming, folks. We'll go to the text line here and start with. Sydney from Oregon. Sydney from Oregon also says, definitely Bayfield, Wisconsin. Bayfield's rocking it tonight. Ed from Madison says, Milwaukee and Spring Green. Well done, Ed. Spring Green. Only been there a couple times. A beautiful
House on the Rock?
Yeah, another gorgeous area of our state. Rain from the 920 says, Hewley. Where's that?
I'm going to have to go to the Google.
Go to the Google for Dave's, too, on the Streamline. I don't know where that is. But that was interesting. I never even heard of that city that Dave mentioned, but we'll read that one soon, too. Al from Madison says, Sister Bay. I'm with you, Al. Gorgeous Door County. Tyler from Wisconsin Rapids says, Pittsville, the geographic center of the state. Its name says it all. Pittsville, yes. I assume it's beautiful, but based on its name, it sounds like it's not. But that's Tyler. Tyler's got cheeky texts. I've been watching a British show called Line of Duty lately, so I'm starting to talk like a Brit. And I think Tyler's texts have been very cheeky. Tori from Kewanee says, Frog Station, which soon will be everyone's favorite city as soon as Mino opens the abandoned bar. I don't know about that. You produce the morning show sometimes. What's going on there? Mino opening a bar?
I guess so.
Does that surprise you?
Yeah. I didn't know he was getting into the bar business.
Why not? Mino should open a bar. He knows everybody.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's the guy who should open a bar. Anna from Madison, she's in the 608, says, Hi, Pete and Conrad. My favorite Wisconsin city is Sister Bay. I love Door County. I would say right now we're in a runoff between Sister Bay and Bayfield. Right?
Yeah, I would say Bayfield. And just,
yeah. Steve from Florida says, if I had a place in Wisconsin that would be my favorite would be Northern Door County, Washington Island. Steve goes even farther north. So we are all caught up on the text line. Sarah Jean on the stream says, hey, sorry, I missed it. When are you dishing out the code word tonight? Sarah Jean, you can tune in at 7 a.m., 11 a.m., 2 p.m., and 4 p.m. for the keyword. We don't give it out on this show. The contest is not eligible during Nightlight, but good luck tomorrow. Definitely play. And thanks for reaching out. Dave says Paoli. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but I pulled it up on Google. It looks beautiful. It looks like it's down by Kettle Moraine.
Oh, okay.
And it looks like some sort of historic village. Very nice. Thank you, Dave. Hey, we have time to play that clip?
The
Dana Carvey.
No, not.
Oh, come on, Conrad. You're killing me.
Sorry.
That's all right. How long is it? It's like a minute?
Minute 30.
All right, I'll have to save some time. Coming up in just a few minutes, folks, our pal Rob Thomas. He is the CityCast Madison newsletter editor. They do some really cool stuff. I love that little rag, as they call it. And we'll talk about some movies, too. Rob has some new movies he's reviewed on his Substack, one of which I've never heard of. So we'll talk to Rob about that and what's going on in Madison, including the city's toxic traits. I wish I had known that. I was just there last night, and I have to admit, nothing really looked toxic. I love Madison. And it's good to be home in Green Bay. And Conrad is wearing pants. All is right in the world. Welcome to Nightlight, folks. We have a really fun show. Weigh in with your thoughts in your favorite Wisconsin cities. Text us your thoughts throughout the show. Always more fun when you guys are part of the show. We're coming right back. This is Pete Schwaba and Nightlight on the Civic Media Radio Network.
She took my arm. I don't know how it happened. We took the floor and she said, oh, don't you dare look back. Just keep your eyes on me. I said, you're holding back. She said, shut up and dance with me. This woman is my destiny. She said, ooh, ooh, shut up.
listening to the Talk of Green Bay, WGBW, home for the Maggie Dawn Show.
Local radio for you and your community. It's Civic Media's mission with stations across Wisconsin. Find your favorites at civicmedia.us.
For 97.9 WGBW News, I'm Lisa Hale. Kimberly may leave the Fox Valley Metropolitan Police Department to contract with the Outagamie County Sheriff's Office to supply its law enforcement services to the village. However, before they do so, the village will host public listening sessions to give residents a chance to weigh in on the decision. Those will be June 16th at 2 and 6 p.m. The village is exploring the financial viability of continuing its partnership with Fox Valley Metro, as growth within Kimberly is limited. If Kimberly contracts with Outagamie County, that will leave only Little Chute covered by Fox Valley Metro. Combined Locks left the combined police department in 2017. After a 5-day walkout, nurses at Meritor in Madison have struck a deal with the hospital. Savannah Tomei Olsen has details.
A statement from Meritor spokesperson Nicole Imani says they've reached an agreement everyone is proud of. She says that deal includes raises for the staff, which are already some of the highest paid nurses in the state. Amber Anderson is on the nurses bargaining team.
We fought for every penny they had to offer. We want an 8% increase across the board over 2 years.
Now, one of the big priorities all along for the Service Employees International Union was safety.
Unfortunately, while we were hopeful for more firm language that leads to action from the hospital, we were unable to come to an agreement on how to put that into contractual language. With that being said, we were able to win new language to continue to build upon that provides an opportunity to collaboratively work towards safety and security solutions.
The strike has officially ended and Meritor nurses are back in the building. For Civic Media News, I'm Savannah Tomei Olsen.
From local news to what's going on around the state, Civic Media's mission is to bring you real news and great conversation. I'm Lisa Hale, 97.9 WGBW News. For news anytime, log on to WGBW.FM.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. Mark Hamill is done, as Luke Skywalker, that is. The actor says no one should ever expect him to appear as Luke Skywalker again, in any way, shape, or form. Deadline reports that Hamill says the franchise should rely on new faces. He last appeared as Luke Skywalker as a mentor to Daisy Ridley's character Rey in The Last Jedi. He's probably serious, but as we've learned, a Jedi never really dies. Just 5 days until you can purchase Bathwater Bliss, also known as the Sydney Sweeney-inspired soap. What inspired it? The fact that there is a market for men who want soap that smells like her bathwater. Sweeney says it's a way to connect with her prevert fans, and let's be honest, it's a lot more intimate than an autograph. I'm not really sure whether or not the soap will get you clean, but I doubt her patrons are concerned about that. Sweeney, on the other hand, might be the cleanest person in the world because if the soap sells like hotcakes, she'll be in the tub around the clock. Hotcakes. For more showbiz fun, tune into Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Your news, conversations, and a whole lot of fun. It's all on your local Civic Media radio station or the Civic Media app.
I'm meteorologist Mace Michaels. Cloudy tonight, showers and even a few thunderstorms. Areas of smoke as well. Lows mid-50s. Hazy sunshine from some of the smoky areas for tomorrow. Highs mid-70s. Turning mostly sunny Thursday. High upper 70s. Currently at 75 degrees.
The Maggie Dawn Show.
Michael Negron of the Small Business Majority.
The Trump administration thinks that they're doing solid for small business with their policies. And so having business owners out there talking about how, whether it's tariffs, whether it's potential cuts to healthcare, how it's going to hurt their bottom line, how it's going to hurt their consumers or their employees, I do think that will have a real impact. Every time he does something, he gets really bad feedback and he retreats in the face of it.
The Maggie Dawn Show. Weekday afternoons 4 until 6 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the app.
We are the keepers of the wild. For more than 80 years, we've been committed to conserving the natural landscapes that define our nation. Nothing is more important than maintaining wild spaces for adventurers to explore and wildlife to thrive. We are America's hunters and target shooters. Together with firearm, ammunition, and archery manufacturers, we've supported the conservation of more than 36 million acres of American wildlands. For more information, visit outdoorstewards.org.
Maggie Dawn.
At 5 o'clock, I'm joined by Cynthia Eifert, retired
Every
Light, great to have you with me on this Tuesday night. Is it weird that it already feels like Thursday?
I don't know, because last week was a short week, so maybe
this
that's
seems
why.
like a long way. I feel like I've already done 8 shows this week. Maybe it was the drive or something. I don't know. So we will we'll read your text coming up soon, folks. I did look up that Paoli, and it's a gorgeous little historic town, and it says 12 miles from downtown Madison. I've never even heard of it, but it looks beautiful. All right, keep those answers coming, or those questions coming. I'm sorry, those answers coming, folks. Our question of the night is, what is your favorite Wisconsin city, excluding the one you live in? So far, I would say Bayfield, and was it Sister Bay?
Yeah.
And Sister Bay. Mine was Egg Harbor, because it's a little closer to civilization than Sister Bay. But they're all good. Door County, in general, probably going to get a lot of votes tonight. So keep those answers coming. Right now, I'm very excited to welcome back to Nightlight one of our favorites. He is the CityCast Madison newsletter. Check it out if you haven't. And he's also a Madison-based film critic. And he joins us now over the stream, our pal Rob Thomas. Hey, Rob.
Hey, Pete. How you doing?
Good. How are you? Hey, how was your vacation?
It was mostly great. We went to New York City.
Yeah.
For the Memorial Day long weekend. I was the victim of a crime, which is that I was scammed on. Well, I was scammed on tickets to see Othello with Denzel Washington, which was like the whole point of the trip, or our main thrust. It's my own fault. I waited till the last minute, was looking for deals on StubHub. Got a nice one. Went to the theater, and the guy was like, "Yeah, those seats don't exist. That's not real." And luckily StubHub was on it. They gave us a full refund. But it was sold out, so we were out of luck on theater. But we found a bar, we found a bookstore, we had a perfectly great time. So next time Denzel Washington does Othello, we'll be sure to be there.
You did what any good Wisconsinite would do as a backup option: find a bar.
It's always a plan B, if not a plan A. Yeah,
right. If Denzel wasn't in Othello, the bar probably would have been the first option.
Exactly. Yeah.
I can't even imagine seeing him on stage. That must be something.
I know.
So I'm sorry that happened.
And we'll have to imagine it, I guess. Yeah.
It looks like you had a nice yoga workout there too, Rob. I saw one of your posts.
I went to Peloton. I'm in the Peloton cult. I'll say it up front. And the spinning class, the bikes, and I've been, since the pandemic, I've been pretty avid. And I went to, they have the studio where they live stream the classes to like all the members, and so I got in and was pedaling away. And you could see, like, mostly my head was cut off on the stream, but you could kind of see me. And I sent a video to my kids, and they were suitably embarrassed, which is really the whole point, right?
Yeah. Right. I have to ask you, as a guy who saw those commercials over and over, it's an exercise bike. What is it about Peloton? Is it because there's someone kind of steering the ship in a Peloton headquarter location? What is it that's so special about Peloton?
I think that's the big one. Is like, it's sort of halfway between just like messing around at home on an elliptical and like actually going to the gym, because they have set classes at a certain time, or they have a bunch on demand as well. But it's just enough of a motivation to get you in the seat. And also, like, you have other people you sort of friend and high five virtually. And so it's a very, my wife is a big gym goer, so she loves the in-person experience, but I like to stay home, and this gives me what part of that I need, I guess.
That's excellent. You know what I remember from the Peloton ads during COVID, and this shows you where my brain was at during COVID and how little I was working out. All I remember thinking was, that Peloton girl is more attractive than the other Peloton girl. How sad is that, Rob?
They're all in excellent shape. Yeah,
it's true. They're all in better shape than me.
That's right.
I have to. Okay, before I want to ask you about some movies, but before we start, did we talk Severance last time?
Yes. Although,
okay,
I think we weren't that far into it. We just, like, my wife and I just finished season 1, and we're taking a little breather, because the rest of the world had to wait 3 years before season 2, so we don't want to jump right into it. And I loved it the whole way through, and she very slowly came around and was very into it by the end.
That's kind of how I was. I don't know. I still don't know how I feel about it. I felt like it was so slow and overly stylistic almost. And I know the story grew and then I got more into it, but I think it lost me a few times and I didn't go back and catch up. And I think that's my
Okay.
problem because, and, rarely do I do this, but there's so much hype around this show. I feel like I have to go back and watch the whole damn first season over again.
Yeah, it's pretty dense, I guess. Like I said, I haven't watched season 2 yet, so I don't know. But I can't imagine a 3-year cliffhanger like that after the end of the first season. But honestly, I just kind of enjoyed the vibe of like, I didn't need that much story. Like, I thought it was very funny, like sort of the satire of the workplace and the melon party and the middle management, all that stuff I thought was really interesting and funny, and the relationships between the characters. And I didn't need too much of the, I guess, the conspiracy part of it, of what's going on. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Seems like a pretty good place to work. I don't know. Maybe just me, but
this is from a guy who likes his gig too.
That's right.
All right, so let's jump into some movies, Rob. You wrote about Jane Austen Wrecked My Life. This is interesting to me. I haven't seen it. I've read about it. You said you were calling it lit. I assume that means you liked it. I thought the review was really well written. Tell us about the
thanks.
film.
Yeah, I liked it well enough. It's a very kind of quirky, low I don't say low energy, but just sort of take on the rom-com. It's a French and English. It's in French and English, and it's about this woman in Paris who works in a bookshop, famous bookshop, Shakespeare and Company, who's sort of a wallflower, writes in secret but never shows anybody. And her best friend sends it to this Jane Austen residency, like this, where writers go with this beautiful country house and write for 2 weeks. And so she goes and kind of gets out of her comfort zone. But there's like, it's just so quirky. Like, I think I wrote, like, my lead was like, not a lot of rom-coms have the heroine fantasizing about slow dancing with the naked man in a Chinese restaurant.
Yeah, right.
And I was like, that was just so odd that I was like, okay, that's not, Bridget Jones never did that. So it was like, there's a little low key. Low key is probably the word I would use, and it's a little more low key than maybe it should be, but it's interesting. Yeah, it's in indie, so it's in some theaters now. Probably be on streaming pretty soon.
Okay. I thought this was really funny, Rob. You made a joke about one of the main characters pulling out her typewriter and writing in the movie, and that they never do this in movies about writing. Well, writing is not very exciting to watch, is it?
No, it's not very cinematic. Yeah, right.
So it's a keeper though. Thumbs up.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I think if you think that, I might like that kind of movie, you'll like that kind of movie. Yeah.
I think I would like that movie because of another line in your review that I really liked. You said it may be a little too muted for traditional rom-com fans, and a little light on Austen for Jane Austen fans. That's a great line. Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll put that in the category of to see. I did not read this review, but I saw that you wrote about The New Boy starring Cate Blanchett. Tell us about The New Boy.
That's a very, like, I think it's on streaming. I don't think it played in theaters even in Madison. Usually, like, it's a new Cate Blanchett movie. You'd think it would play fairly big. But it's like so she's Australian, which I keep forgetting. But it's like her first Australian movie in, like, I think like 20 years. I was looking at her IMDb. And it's she plays a nun in very rural Australia in, it looks like the 30s or 40s. And there was this kind of very shameful thing which happened in a lot of colonial cultures where they would basically kidnap kids and convert them to Christianity, and and sort of rub out the old culture. And they snap up this 9-year-old boy who just resists, and apparently has some sort of like supernatural abilities, I guess I would say, like healing abilities. And so it's kind of like the war of wills between the two of them. And it's like an unbelievably beautiful movie. Like every shot is like a painting. So if you like Cate Blanchett and you were, we just saw her in Black Bag, which is one of my favorites of the year. This is a completely different role for her, playing a nun. But I do recommend it.
That's a great segue, actually, because we might have touched on Black. I don't think you had seen Black Bag. Actually,
Maybe
last
not.
time
It took
we
a
were-
couple. It
Yeah.
took a little while before I saw it in theaters. Yeah.
Same here, and I think you saw it very shortly after I did. But you kind of did a deep dive in your article on your Substack. And by the way, check out Rob's Substack. Not that Rob Thomas Substack. He does great work there. So your entire article, I equated it to, you talk about the Blu-ray extras. Your article was like a Blu-ray extra. You had some great stuff in there about
thanks.
Just the creation of the film and what David Koepp. Talk a little bit about David Koepp and where he's the screenwriter, where his inspiration came to write this movie when he was working on another project. I found that really interesting.
So David Koepp, UW-Madison graduate, has come to the film festival a couple of times with his movies. He wrote the first Mission Impossible back in 1996. He's a big time screenwriter. He also wrote Jurassic Park and has written the new one that's coming in the summer. But he was talking to CIA guys, and like they were telling him about, their job as much as they could about their jobs, and he was like, okay, but what's it like to be married when you're a CIA agent, when you spend your entire day lying and then you go home to your husband and wife, and there must be a lot of infidelity going on there because you're all really good at lying. And so he's been working on this movie, the screenplay, for I guess ever since 20-30 years, and it's a British spy. I would say thriller, although there's very little action. It's all dialogue and sort of tension, and as Michael Fassbender is trying to figure out who in his team is a traitor, and his wife, who's played by Cate Blanchett, is one of the suspects. And just I thought it was great. It might be that and Sinners, and this other movie I saw last night is a sneak preview called The Life of Chuck. I think those are all vying for my favorites of the year so far.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. And it wasn't a complaint. I was expecting a little more action in Black Bag,
Sure.
but there is a scene where a drone, it's really cool the way it's shot too. It bird dogs this van,
right,
and blows it up, and it was like, whoa. Like that kind of came out of nowhere because a lot of it is dialogue. And you talk about in the film how them sitting around the table talking about their private lives is almost more interesting than them talking about the office, even though they work, they're spies,
Right.
So I thought that was really cool too.
Yeah, it's really interesting. There's like 2 dinner party scenes, one at the beginning, one at the end. And I loved it. I can't wait to see it again.
Do you think you can beat a polygraph test?
Well, I learned a good tip from the movie. I won't spoil it, but I think I would need to practice beforehand. I won't say
I would
anymore.
be so scared. I think I would wet myself if I had to take a polygraph test.
That might be a giveaway if you wet yourself.
That screams guilty conscience?
Yeah,
Is that what you're
maybe. I don't know.
Great point. All right. Rob Thomas is my guest. He's the editor for the CityCast Madison newsletter. Check it out. And a Madison-based film critic. We will come back and talk more movies and some toxic traits of Madison. That'll be an interesting conversation with Rob. That's coming up next on Nite Light with Pete Schwaba on the Civic Media Radio Network.
All my instincts, they return. The grand facade so soon will burn. Without a noise, without my pride, I reach out for me.
As Wisconsin as a fish fry on a Friday night, this is the Civic Media Radio Network.
Mark your calendars for heart-pumping, exhilarating action at the 2025 Queen Marinette's Run the River Powerboat Races in Marinette, Wisconsin on June 7th and 8th. The action will be nonstop as these high-octane boats reach speeds of over 105 miles per hour. Races kick off on Saturday and Sunday at 12:30 p.m. and run throughout the day. Free for the whole family, this is the perfect summertime weekend getaway. For more information, head to fishonmarinette.com and click on the events page.
Hey, it's John Mino.
And Jim Schmidt from Mino and the Mayor.
Want to stay in the loop with all things Northeast Wisconsin? Sign up for the WGBW weekly newsletter.
Get the latest local stories, updates on the weather, and a special feature from our Mino and the Mayor podcast.
It's your one-stop shop for real news and great conversation in Northeast Wisconsin.
Log on to WGBW.FM today and get signed up.
Real news, great conversation. Sign up today at WGBW.FM/newsletter.
Insight Eye Care has been serving the Fox Valley for over 30 years and are proud sponsors of Mino and the Mayor's Eye on the Community. Insight offers comprehensive eye care, including glasses and contact lenses. Their doctors have a special interest in treating chronic eye disease, specialty contact lenses, and pediatric care. Find Insight on Sawyer Street in Oshkosh and Chain Drive in Appleton. Visit wiinsight.com to schedule your eye exam. Improving lives by improving sight. Insight Eye Care.
I'm Dan Schaefer. Let's recombobulate. In discussions over the so-called Big Beautiful Bill backed by Donald Trump that's making its way through Congress, none other than Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson has emerged as the most prominent Republican critic of the bill, saying at a recent Milwaukee Press Club event that it is, quote, not even close to adequate. Johnson has said he wants spending cuts to go even further, including making cuts to Medicaid. But Johnson's position as a critic of this bill makes him especially influential in these negotiations. But let's not forget the last time he was in a similar position. In 2017, he was a critic of the Trump tax cut bill, but what he fought for was a tax break for certain types of businesses, perhaps not coincidentally, businesses owned by his largest donors, Dick and Liz Uline. In 2018 alone, the Ulines received more than $200 million in tax breaks because of this bill. So as the Big Beautiful Bill is negotiated in the Senate, let's not forget this piece of recent history.
Find all of Dan's work at the Recombobulation area.
Skilled trade workers are the backbone of every community, and also the Army National Guard. Soldiers trained to keep the power flowing, engines running, and in every other trade needed to accomplish the mission. These soldiers are on the fast track to learning skills that can set them up for success at home with companies looking to hire the best. Their resumes are being built through their paid training and part-time service. Find out how you too can learn a trade profession by visiting NationalGuard.com. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard. Aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
Connect.
You want me, I want you, baby. My sugar boo, I'm levitating. The Milky Way, we're renegading. Yeah, 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 yeah. I got you, moonlight, you're my star.
You got Night Light with Pete Schwaba on a Tuesday night here. We are broadcasting live from beautiful downtown Green Bay after another lovely and successful run doing the show from our state's capital, Madison, Wisconsin, which is not on this list. I find that strange. I'm not going to lie. My guest is Rob Thomas. He is the editor for the CityCast Madison newsletter and a Madison-based film critic and a proud Madisonian. Rob, when places put out these lists, what is going on? Like a couple years ago, Green Bay was the #1 place to live in America, and it's a lovely town. Here, on this list, U.S. News and World Report, it's 170th. Madison is not on this list. It's the top 250 cities, supposedly. Wow. Madison has been the #1 place to live, according to Forbes and various other publications, multiple years in a row, and it's not even on the list. What do you think?
I think Madison. I think Madison has. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, great. I think Madison has a housing problem, so they're trying to tell people not to come. Quite frankly. Like, don't put us on. Don't tell people we're so great. I think that's what it is.
Oh, I wonder, because they're all over the place, these lists. I feel like something's going on here. You know, how much to put you on the list? I mean, Des Plaines, Illinois was on the list.
I've been to Des Plaines. It's not bad. Yeah.
It's fine. Come on. Top 250? Give me a break.
Kind of French. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's worldly. Rob, do you have a favorite city in Wisconsin that is not Madison, Wisconsin? That's our question of the night. I'm just curious where you would fall in that.
That's a good question. I mean, honestly, I would say Milwaukee. Milwaukee's a great city. If you're talking small towns, probably Spring Green. That's a great little town. So much less to do there, and very close to Madison.
A couple of people have mentioned Spring Green. Sure.
Yeah.
That's great. Before we move off of Black Bag, I read in your article too that and I was surprised by this too. The 2-flat where Michael Fassbender and Cate Blanchett lived was a set you wrote. Where was that filmed? Do you know?
I think it was London, but they just built a set inside a studio, and it blew my mind because when I saw that movie, I was sure that was like, how much that cost? The real estate for this beautiful 2-story apartment, and there's a street out front, all fake, all built in a studio, I guess. so they could shoot wherever they wanted to and not damage it. But movie magic, I guess.
I'm telling you, I always love when they film on location, but sometimes a set, you're right, can be so magical. It just makes you want to move there. Like, I remember seeing pictures of Rear Window and how they set that jib, like that camera coming over the whole courtyard to film stuff. And that was just, it's really spectacular when you see those things. The last thing is Soderbergh did his own camera work.
I think he always does that. Like he under maybe an alias, he always does the camera work. He does the editing. So like you're watching the making of, and usually the director is like way in the back watching the what's being shot on a monitor. He's right up in their faces with the camera, with the actors. And it seems like a very different process. He's a lot more intimate, and maybe I think gets the actors very engaged when the director's like literally right in their face holding a camera. Yeah.
Great point. Before we get to Toxic Traits of Madison, which I loved reading that, what did you think of Mission Impossible? To me, this is like the biggest film for adults, probably all summer, and it opened well. It was dwarfed by Lilo and Stitch, but that was kind of expected. What was your take on Mission Impossible?
Well, I love those movies. Like I mean, I love the last. I mean, I think only 2 was like the last one where I was like, that wasn't so good. Right. And I think I said this is like a 3-star movie in a 4-star series. You know, it's good. Okay. Held my attention. You know, incredible sequences towards the end, but a lot of exposition, especially in the first half. A lot of backstory, a lot of flashbacks. Takes a long time for my mind to start getting fun and sort, you know, kind of that Mission Impossible fun with like, you know, the intrigue and the suspense and kind of the trickery and stuff like that. Like the moment I really locked in was when, speaking of Severance, when Tremel Tillman, who plays Mr. Is it Milchek, I think, on the show?
Oh, yeah.
He's the sub commander, and he is so funny in Mission Impossible. Like every line is hilarious. And
that's the guy from Severance?
Yeah.
I loved that guy. I thought he was going to be the president's son or something, but then he was. That's so great. I never put that together. Yeah, he was very funny.
He just every line he just like made a meal out of, and that was kind of okay. This is gonna be fun. And from then on, and that's probably midway through the movie, I was really enjoying it. So, you know, I think they kind of pushed it as far as they can go, and maybe a little too far, too big. Yeah.
The only argument I can make, and it's not a good one, because I've talked about this film now with Ben Reiser. I think Matt Miller and I discussed it, and no one seems to like that sort of recap. And I didn't love it, but with 8 movies over 30 years, and most of us don't have time to go back and watch every movie. I watched part of 7 and part of 3.
Yeah.
It's tough. I mean, I didn't think it needed to be that long, but I thought for what it was okay. But you're right. It wasn't like when the movie gets going, it gets going.
Yeah, and I agree. It was okay. It was engaging. I thought the way they brought 3 in was pretty interesting, but I think too often it brought stuff in and then it didn't really pay off.
Correct.
In a way. Like the Shea Wiggum character, we find out but that doesn't really pay off, right? Like it does not, you know. So
it was unnecessary, I thought. I'm like,
that's what I thought.
I think need to be related to, you know, John Voight. Yeah. And I love Shea Wiggum, but come on.
Absolutely. But yeah, if you're gonna spend time at the beginning to set that up, then have it pay off later on. And too often, too many of those things didn't, I thought.
No, that's a great point. Do you have now that you've seen all 8, how would you give me your top 3, Rob?
Ooh, that's a toughie. Fallout is my favorite.
Is that 5?
That's 6. That's the one
6, okay.
Where he broke his ankle in Paris.
Yes.
And like after I saw Final Reckoning, I was like, it was okay. Maybe these movies are a little overrated. And then I watched a 2-minute clip of him running across rooftops. I was like, oh no, these are the best movies ever made. This is incredible. I probably would go 6 and then 5. Rogue Nation, the one where he's hanging on the side of the plane. And then 4
Hold that thought. We will get Rob Thomas's favorite Mission Impossible movie after the news, and we're going to talk about Toxic Traits in Madison. It's time for intermission, folks. We're coming right back. This is Pete Schwaba and Nite Lite on the Civic Media Radio Network.
WGBW Denmark, Green Bay's real news and great conversation, a Civic Media radio station.
ABC News, I'm Dave Packer. Strange bedfellows. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, the minority leader, finding himself agreeing with Elon Musk, the former head of Doge, calling the president's big, beautiful bill a, quote, disgusting abomination.
If even Elon Musk, who's been part of the whole process and is Trump's buddy, says the bill is bad, you can imagine how bad this bill is.
Schumer opposes the bill's budget cuts. Musk opposes the bill's increased spending. The White House sending Congress the first request to codify the Doge budget cuts, which will claw back over $9 billion in already approved spending. The president signing an executive order raising the tariffs on steel and aluminum imports to 50%. U.S. officials saying the wife and children of the suspect in the Colorado firebombing attack are now in ICE custody and set to be removed from the country. Israeli forces firing on people headed toward an aid distribution center in Gaza today. At least 27 people killed. This is ABC News.
You can always continue the conversation on social media. Share your thoughts when you find and follow Civic Media on Facebook, X, and Instagram.
For 97.9 WGBW News, I'm Lisa Hale. An 18-year-old man walked away from the Bay Haven Treatment Center in Green Bay on Monday, and Brown County Sheriff's officials are asking for the public's help in finding him. Jules Aaron Kernigan, who goes by the nickname of Gabby, is a developmentally disabled, vulnerable adult who is considered missing and endangered. Sheriff's officials say he was seen leaving the treatment center on Gershwin Drive around 2 p.m. Monday. He's a black man, 5 foot 11 inches tall, and approximately 140 pounds. Gabby was last seen wearing a black hoodie, white or light-colored jeans, and carrying a multicolored backpack. Anyone with information is asked to contact the Brown County Public Safety Communications Center. The Oshkosh Common Council recently met with area legislators to urge them to increase municipal service payments to 100% of what's needed to provide services like fire, law enforcement, sanitation, and more to state buildings. Currently, the state funds 37.6% of the costs, leaving local property owners and businesses to cover the difference. Governor Tony Evers did include a $17 million increase for municipal service payments program in his proposed biennial budget, bringing the reimbursement amount to about 72%. However, Republican lawmakers are proposing a $31 million increase, bringing it much closer to the 100% mark. They say that individual municipalities should not be on the hook to provide services to the state without proper financial reimbursement. Oshkosh has the third largest number of state buildings after Milwaukee and Madison. From local news to what's going on around the state, Civic Media's mission is to bring you real news and great conversation. I'm Lisa Hale, 97.9 WGBW News. For news anytime, log on to WGBW.FM.
The Brewers win again. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. The Brewers face the Reds again tonight at Great American Ballpark. The Crew won their 8th game in a row last night, 3-2 over Cincinnati. A home run by Christian Yelich and good pitching from Aaron Savalier and the bullpen. Brewers manager Pat Murphy, who's been dealing with a bad head cold on this road trip.
Yeah, no question. Savali did. He responded very well after the first inning and made big pitches in the second inning. Settled in the third, fourth, and fifth, and very important. And then Rob Z continues to do the job, and Koenig, Uribe, and McGill very good again.
NFL at the Packers OTAs, head coach Matt LaFleur says take a close look at defensive end Edgerrin Cooper coming back in his second season, 10 pounds heavier.
He's certainly, his body looks different. I don't know if you guys could tell, but he's like 240 pounds right now. And I think there was a time when we came back last year where he was like 220.
With sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
Enjoying this local program? Find the complete Civic Media lineup at civicmedia.us or the Civic Media app.
I'm meteorologist Mace Michaels. Cloudy tonight, showers and even a few thunderstorms. Areas of smoke as well. Lows mid-50s. Hazy sunshine from some of the smoky areas for tomorrow. Highs mid-70s. Turning mostly sunny Thursday. High upper 70s. Currently at 75 degrees.
Mino and the Mayor.
On Wednesday's show, we'll be moving with the Melkors. Ben and Deanna will join us.
Plus, we'll learn about the Bee Gees Now show coming to the Green Bay Botanical Gardens. Join us.
Weekday mornings 6 till 9.
Wounded Warrior Project has been there for me since that first day in the hospital.
They got me out of the house. They got me connected with other veterans, and they helped me face my PTSD. They support me and my family at every turn. And now I'm helping other warriors realize that they're not alone.
Through our hands-on programs, supportive community, and ongoing advocacy, we help post-9/11 veterans realize what's possible. Learn more at woundedwarriorproject.org/possible.
The Maggie Dawn Show.
Lily Roberts, she is from the Center for American Progress Action Fund.
They're trying to pretend that this bill would be good for the working class because of this really small carve out to our tax laws. The no tax on tips piece does not at all even come close to addressing the problem of wages in this country. You know, a third of workers who work for tips in the first place don't make enough money to pay taxes at all.
Broadcasting live from the Civic Media Studios in Green Bay, this is Nite Lite with Pete Schwaba, your inside source on everything entertainment from Wisconsin to Hollywood. And now, a guy who appreciates a nice hot meal at a fair price, Pete Schwaba.
Welcome back to Nite Lite, ladies and gentlemen. So great to have you with me on this Tuesday night as we start Act 2 here on the show. So our first hour was packed with infotainment, folks. We talked about the 9 best cities in Wisconsin, supposedly because they are the only 9 mentioned in U.S. News and World Report's top 250 list. Conrad, by the way, in case you were curious, the number 1 city, it only took me 12 and a half hours to scroll through this list. Johns Creek, Georgia.
Huh.
How proud John must be, who probably wasn't around to see the blooming of his discovered city, but it's the number 1 city in the entire country, which is exciting for them. Carmel, Indiana is number 2, so I think I have a guest idea because we have to fill in somebody tomorrow. My friend Dave lives there, so I think we can get Dave on. He's a great comedian. Carmel, I want to say that's where David Letterman's from, but either way. Our question of the night, folks, given the inspiration of the Wisconsin city list, the top 9, what is your favorite Wisconsin city, excluding the one you live in? You cannot vote for the city you live in, but what is your favorite secondary city here in Wisconsin? Let us know at 855-752-4842. And or you can text us on the app or the stream. Coming up at 7:20, some paranormal talk with paranormal investigator and Mino and the Mayor producer Todd Michaels. He'll be here. We're going to talk about lake monsters and vampires, and Todd might give us a good Gettysburg ghost story, which I didn't even know those existed. So we will do all that, and we will get back to our guest here, Rob Thomas, in just a second. We also talked about, do you call back a wrong number? I'm amazed that people do this. So maybe I'll ask Rob that when we come back. Right now, if you're not playing our promotion here at Civic Media, our Scotty Summer Text to Win contest, you really need to, folks. All you have to do is download the Civic Media app. Very easy. And then when you hear a keyword at the top of the hour, text in that keyword, and you are eligible to win prizes every hour that you play. From $100 in your pocket to Milwaukee Brewers club level tickets. That's each hour. 2 great prizes hourly, and you automatically enroll yourself for the grand prize drawings, which are both 2 amazing trips, one to Door County, Wisconsin, and one to Baraboo, Wisconsin. Beautiful Baraboo down in southern Wisconsin. And gas money is included, so if that was a deal breaker for you, forget about it. You're in. You got to play. 4 p.m., 2 p.m., 11 a.m., and 7 a.m. See what I did there, Con? I went backwards.
Yeah.
Just in case there are any people listening that get confused easily. It started yesterday. It runs through June 13th. It's a great contest. And good luck, everybody. Hope you play. Hope you win. And thanks for listening. So right now we're going to get back to our guest, Rob Thomas. Rob, have you ever had anyone call you or have you ever called anyone and it was the wrong number and they call you back?
I'm trying to understand what this is. So you have a wrong number. You call somebody.
Correct. I called someone and I realized it was a wrong number.
Okay.
So I hung up after about 3 or 4 rings.
Okay.
They called me back. Hi, I just missed a call from this number. Like, they're like soliciting phone calls, which most of us are trying to avoid at all costs.
I think I've done that on occasion if it's a hang up. Like, But what I don't understand is if someone goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, wrong number," and then you call them back, like, did you feel like you had a connection with them and you wanted to explore it a little bit?
What I
Like,
don't
I
understand.
don't know. There's some chemistry there. I don't know.
like
But no, in general, if the less phone calls I have to deal with, the better.
Correct.
I think that's,
and that's
yeah.
what I was saying. Like, I feel like
Okay.
people are bored. Hey, who is this? What'd you need? I don't think anybody's that outgoing. Okay. Right before we did the news, Rob, you were about to give us your favorite Mission Impossible film of the franchise. And I think that was a great, what they call on radio, teaser. So we
Cliffhanger.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I appreciate the time to think about my answer here. Yeah. So I would definitely say the sixth movie, Fallout, is my favorite. Yeah. I watched that so many times. I used to watch it on the elliptical, and then at the end of you could basically review the movie by my little EKG and like, oh, that's the car chase, and it's way up here, and oh, that's when he's in the helicopter, that's way up there. It's like,
You're getting personal calls from Peloton. Hey, will you crush that workout? What
are you
were
okay? Are you okay? It says here you're 56. You shouldn't be in that zone.
I'll have to give that a rewatch. I watched a lot of 7 leading up to this. I watched
Seven's
a lot
good.
Of 3. 3 is to me when the series really started crushing. Like when J.J. Abrams got involved, and it was just this like nonstop movie. That's when I thought they just started escalating. But I got to give 6 another watch.
Yeah, I agree. One is a lot of fun. It's a different kind of movie, I think. I mean, it's 30 years old at this point. 2 is the one I think that nobody really likes. It's sort of a clunker. And 4 and 5 are fantastic as well. 4 is the one where he's hanging off the building in Dubai, which is still one of the greatest stunts I've ever seen. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's funny, like you mentioned when he broke his ankle, anybody who does not like Tom Cruise needs to watch that, because I've seen internet videos on it when he jumps. I mean, I know he had a cable on him, but he was jumping. It looked like 30 feet building to building.
Yep.
And that's when he broke his ankle, and he kept going in the scene. I mean, that's remarkable.
I know. He got out of the shot because he knew, like, I'm not going to be doing this for 6 months while my ankle heals. I better get it done now. So, no, this movie, Final Reckoning, him in the biplane, like, that's insane. Yeah. That's truly insane. Yeah.
I don't even know how they did it. He must have just. How real was that? I don't want to sound like a rube. I mean, I've been part of movies, but I don't know how they did that.
I've been watching a little bits of behind the scenes clips coming out online, and I mean, a lot of it seems real. I mean, I think there was a pilot they kind of digitally erased when he's out on the wing, so it's not like he's in a out of control plane. But like,
right?
I think they shot it for like 4.5 months, just like little bits every day, and he's hanging upside. It's hanging upside. He needs to stop. I'm sorry.
Yeah. 62. Yeah, exactly.
62. He needs to stop. Yeah. Thank you, Tom. Yeah.
All right. So you did this great piece at CityCast Madison. And it's funny because I'm talking about how much I love Madison, and it's been the #1 city in America, like 7 out of the last 10 years, whatever it is. And you guys, your group there at CityCast Madison did a podcast talking about the city's toxic traits, which I don't often associate with such a great town, but you guys did not hold back. Can you tell us what the inspiration for that was and where people can find it?
Well, I think like any town you live in, you have these gripes, even a seemingly perfect town like Madison, that like things that bug you. And there's something about sort of the ideal of Madison that bugs me even more when things happen. So yeah, we did a podcast where we all talked about our, the things that bug us, and some are really big, like, the city's racial inequities or the housing problem. And some are really little, like, pedestrians, when they come to a crossing, don't press the button, like the walk button. And so it's like, there's a lot of that I noticed, because we also asked readers and listeners to come up with their toxic traits, and the interactions between pedestrians, bikers, and cars came up a lot. It seemed like pedestrians not crossing the street, drivers not pulling over for emergency vehicles, which is also a real annoying thing.
Wow, really? Yeah, that is annoying. I didn't realize that was an issue there.
Yeah, and then the whole thing on the bike pass where somebody doesn't say on your left when they pass you. But then, like, sometimes if you stay on your left, then the people you pass will like freak out because they're so shocked, they're so caught off guard by somebody passing them. So it's like there's no win there. It was it was a super fun project we did, and we did. I wrote an article that sort of sums up the listener gripes, and we had the podcast, and we could easily do another one, I think, with Madison's toxic traits.
My guest is Rob Thomas. He is a Madison-based film critic. We're talking about an article that he wrote in CityCast Madison, where he is the newsletter editor, about Madison's toxic traits. I have to say, I'm in lockstep with Katie D. I don't know her, but why isn't there? Her gripe was, why isn't there a train from Milwaukee to Madison? Why is the Amtrak 30 miles from Madison?
Yeah, it's a good question, and I think
honestly,
a previous governor might have the answer to that question: why there's not high-speed rail between Milwaukee and Madison. But no, that is sort of nuts. Yeah,
we don't want high-speed rail. Take your federal money and get out of here.
That's right.
A policy? Come on. I would love to have a train between Madison and Milwaukee.
I know, it'd be so great.
But she complained there were not enough public museums there, which I didn't realize. I thought Madison had great museums.
I thought so too. Yeah, that one surprised me a little bit. I think she had another really good point, which is that Madison does not take advantage of its lakes. A lot of the lakefront property is private, so there's very few restaurants or public parks. I know they're going to try and redevelop some of the lakefront, but I think that aside from the terrace and maybe the Edgewater, there is not enough places to gather on the lakefront, which is
that was
strange because we're.
Before we let you go, Rob, you also wrote a recent piece about all these new restaurants in Madison. Is that an anomaly, or are that many restaurants opening in Madison all the time? That's insane.
It was slow for a little bit at the beginning of the year, and then it just seems like every day there's a new one being announced, a new one opening, new one closing, and then immediately they know what restaurant's coming in to take its place. It's just a very not a toxic trait. It's a very vibrant food scene. Yeah, there's lots to see.
And then the other thing I saw was that you had a donut place. You did a thing where Madison is upping its donut game, which I found funny. I didn't know that I didn't realize that needed to be done. But there's a place in Atwood you like. But you also did a piece on best indie venues, and there are like 3 of them in Atwood. What is happening? I mean, I know Atwood's a cool neighborhood, but man, is everything happening in Atwood these days?
It seems like it. On our podcast today, we were talking to the owner of this new Atwood Music Hall, which is such a cool space. And Live Nation owns a lot of the venues in town, but there seems to be a lot of these grassroots indie venues coming up that prioritize local music and bands that could, are just starting out. So it's really great. It's really healthy for our music scene, I think.
Well, enjoy your fair city tonight, Rob. Always fun to catch up with you, buddy, and talk movies and whatever else you guys are writing about there. Keep up the great work. And thanks so much for your time tonight.
Yeah, thanks, Pete. Good talking to you.
Anytime. All right, Rob Thomas, check out his work at CityCast Madison, or you can follow him on his Substack, Not That Rob Thomas. Do you know why that is his name, Conrad?
Well, there is another Rob Thomas out there.
There is, and he's not nearly as cool. He's probably a little richer, but
yeah.
All right, our question of the night, you can still get in on the fun, folks, is what is your favorite Wisconsin city, excluding the one you live in? We've got Sydney from Oregon says, oh, did you see that? Are my levels good?
Yeah.
I love when listeners help out. Thank you, Sydney, for the thing about my mic, but I think we're good now. I hope so. And then we've got, let's see here, I got to catch up on these. Tyler from Wisconsin Rapids. Tyler, never apologize. I love your cheekiness. That's what makes you unique as a texter. It's awesome. He says, I'm sorry, Pete and Conrad, I wasn't thinking. I even think that's sarcastic, though. That's how well I know Tyler now. Conrad's mom checks in and says, Managua can walk anywhere you want to go, and the views are beautiful. They absolutely are. That is a great text, Paula. Thank you. We will read Carol's after the break. Great stuff, Carol. We'll read that. And we've got one from Bridget we'll get to, too, after a very short break here. And then we are going to bring in our pal, Todd Michaels, for some Lake Monster and vampire talk here on Nightlight with Pete Schwaba on the Civic Media Radio Network.
In the ground where the flowers grow, gold and silver shine.
Tom Hartman here. You're listening to 97.9 WGBW.
Mark your calendars for heart-pumping, exhilarating action at the 2025 Queen Marinette's Run the River Powerboat Races in Marinette, Wisconsin on June 7th and 8th. The action will be nonstop as these high-octane boats reach speeds of over 105 miles per hour. Located on the Menominee River, you'll be seated up close so you can witness all of the high adrenaline drama. The races are free and perfect for the entire family. Racing will be fierce with up to 100 powerboats and 18 heats a day. Races kick off on Saturday and Sunday at 12:30 p.m. and run throughout the entire day. It's Queen Marinette's Run the River Powerboat Races, June 7th and 8th. Free for the whole family. You won't want to miss this awesome event. For more information, head to fishonmarinette.com and click on the events page or contact the Marinette Welcome Center at 715-732-4333.
Summer, summer, summer. It's time for Civic Media's Scotty Summer Text to Win contest right here on this local Civic Media radio station. We want to hook you up with $100 cash, Milwaukee Brewers club level tickets, and the chance to win a summer getaway to the Wisconsin Dells area or an escape to Door County. Download the free Civic Media app in the Google Play or App Store. Then listen in for the keywords during the 7 and 11 a.m. hour and 2 and 4 p.m. hour. Text in the keyword and get set to win. It's Civic Media's Scotty Summer.
The annual Alloway Fest Picnic and Car Show is back. Hey, it's Amanda with another new Wisco 411 for you, brought to you by Area 509 in Appleton. And the 40th annual fest is happening this upcoming Sunday from 10 till 3 p.m. There'll be food and refreshments, face painting, bounce houses, kids games, and the new Zoo's Zoomobile. You say that 10 times fast. There's so much going on, I can't even list it all. Go to WGBW.FM and click events.
Out here in the middle of these acres, it can feel like you're the only person on Earth. That's how it feels when you're struggling with your mental health. But you don't have to feel alone. Find more information at loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
As Wisconsin is
Mother, there's too many of you crying. Brother, there's far too many of you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we just added Todd Alba to the show tomorrow night. How exciting is that?
That is very exciting.
Very exciting. When will he be on, Conrad? 7:20?
7:20, yes.
Fantastic. We're going to give Todd a quiz. Let's just see how smart our pal Todd Alba is. Our question of the night, folks, is what is your favorite Wisconsin city that you don't call home? You have to take out of the equation your city and tell us your favorite Wisconsin city. Bridget from the 818 says, Oshkosh, I have good childhood memories, love the old houses, the university, the history, the natural beauty, and the restaurant Leon's. I've been to Leon's. That's good. They have what they call a juice burger, which is basically a sloppy Joe, but it's delicious. We will get to the rest of your texts as promised very soon. But right now, I'm very excited to welcome my next guest. He produces the Mino and the Mayor show here on WGBW and WISS every morning with, of course, John Mino and Jim Schmidt. And he is also, on the side, a paranormal investigator and a friend of Nightlight. Todd Michaels joins us now. Hey, buddy.
How are you, Pete?
I'm doing very well, thanks.
You mentioned Leon's. I'm literally a half block away from Leon's. Right, I live right there, so it's difficult to be this close and not be there every day.
You know, those juice burgers they're so good, but they're so piping hot. It takes like a day and a half before you can eat them. They're so fresh, and but oh my gosh, are they good? Yeah,
it's all about the turtle sundaes for me, period. I don't need to have regular food. I don't need burgers. I don't need any kind of sides. I just need a large turtle sundae. Then I'm done.
That's your calorie intake for the day, too. It probably put you over.
For the week. Yeah, right, exactly.
Todd, congrats are in order. Your city, Oshkosh, this is very exciting, was ranked out of 250 places to live. This came out last week. You may have already heard this, but Oshkosh came in 114th. Not too shabby.
It's not bad. I had this conversation with someone here. I was doing an interview earlier today in our Oshkosh studios at WISS, and somebody just joined the Discover Oshkosh team as their marketing director, or marketing coordinator, I should say. She grew up in Appleton, went to school at UW Oshkosh. She left. She was a Wienermobile driver for a while. So we had some great conversations about that. I wanted to learn like some of the skills you got to have to pull that off. But she came back to Oshkosh because she loves it so much. And I have to give a shout out to Oshkosh because it's a very underrated city. And if you've never been, you've got to check it out. There are events all summer long here.
My wife, her mother grew up there and she went to school there. So when we started dating at the end of college, we did a long distance thing and I would go up there to visit her from Chicago. So I spent quite a bit of time there, and at that age in the bars. There was also a restaurant there I really liked. I don't think it's there anymore, but it was called Vitello's. It was an Italian joint. Yeah. It's not there, right? I mean, I thought, I haven't been to Oshkosh in a long time.
Do you mean Vitali's or Fratello's?
I think it's Vitali's.
Yeah, Vitali's was great. I may have gone to like a prom dinner there or something like that back in my day too, Pete.
Little calzone before you tear it up in the dance.
Yeah, there's nothing better than wearing a tuxedo and a little calzone in your cummerbund, you know?
Is that a calzone in your cummerbund?
Why, yes, Sally, it is.
Would you like to slow dance? All right, so...
I'm sitting there slow dancing and like eating my leftovers at the same time.
What if you couldn't live in Oshkosh, though, Todd? Where would you go in our fair state?
I have to say, Madison's a really cool city, but I also love La Crosse. Is an awesome city. School out there, and you're right on the river, and just natural beauty out there, left and right. So I think between Madison, La Crosse, and Oshkosh, it's the best of all three worlds.
That's a great answer. Okay, so I want to get into lake monsters and vampires, but you texted me a little bit ago saying you're going to Gettysburg. We only have a couple minutes before break, so I'll save those other topics for after the news. But why is Gettysburg haunted, Todd?
Well,
or what have you heard?
Well, I mean, you had the big battles out there, right, with the Civil War and all that kind of stuff. There's some really. I mean, I've never been there. This will be the first time that I've gone and actually been able to vacation and also do a little investigating. But from what I've seen and what I've heard from people that I know and also watching other investigators, there's just crazy amounts of activity there. And one of the cool things that I've seen actually kind of played out in some investigations was they've done investigations in one area and had a interaction with some sort of entity or energy, and then went to another location down the street, across town, whatever, and had the same interaction with what seemed to be the same entity or energy, meaning that energy can move and follow you throughout that area.
Oh.
So I'm really looking forward to it.
Are you? And so you said you're going for vacation, but are you going to do some investigating while you're there? That's a vacation for you, right?
Absolutely, I'm going to do that. I'm going to shut off all the electrical appliances like the cell phones and other stuff too. But I'm really looking forward to it. In fact, we're going to be also recording a season of podcasts while we're out there actually investigating and stuff like that. So really looking forward to the trip. First of all, I can't say anything more than just being really excited that I'll be away from Jim and John for at least a week. And the rest of you bozos, and I'm just going to go have some fun, but I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, it's a well-deserved break for you, buddy. I'm excited for you. Are war places common, Todd, to have, because of all the battles and stuff? I would imagine that's a hotbed of activity.
I mean, I think so. And people will say, well, there's all that death there and all that. Certainly that's the case, but just think of all the energy it took to fight each other and trying to save lives. They would take old homes and turn them into makeshift hospitals and stuff like that. And I just think the amount of energy that went into fighting a cause probably kept a lot of that energy around. I actually heard some audio from a friend of mine. She was just out recording out in the middle of nowhere, and she caught a battle cry on her audio, which when she played it for me, I'm like, what is that? That sounds like something from an old movie. And so we actually looked it up, and it seemed like it was actually a battle cry.
That is so cool. All right. Well, we will have more with Todd Michaels, our pal, paranormal investigator, after a very short break. Don't go anywhere, folks. We got a lot of show left. It's Pete Schwaba and Nite Lite on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Green Bay, WGBW, home for Matinee on Air.
This is your local Civic Media radio station. Want to hear even more? Anytime? Find all of it at civicmedia.us.
ABC News, I'm Dave Packer. Strange bedfellows. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, the minority leader, finding himself agreeing with Elon Musk, the former head of Doge, calling the president's big, beautiful bill a, quote, disgusting abomination.
If even Elon Musk, who's been part of the whole process and is Trump's buddy, says the bill is bad, you can imagine how bad this bill is.
Schumer opposes the bill's budget cuts. Musk opposes the bill's increased spending. The White House sending Congress the first request to codify the Doge budget cuts, which would claw back over $9 billion in already approved spending. The president signing an executive order raising the tariffs on steel and aluminum imports to 50%. U.S. officials saying the wife and children of the suspect in the Colorado firebombing attack are now in ICE custody and set to be removed from the country. Israeli forces firing on people headed toward an aid distribution center in Gaza today. At least 27 people killed. This is ABC News.
The Brewers win again. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. The Brewers face the Reds again tonight at Great American Ballpark. The Crew won their 8th game in a row last night, 3-2 over Cincinnati. A home run by Christian Yelich and good pitching from Aaron Savalier and the bullpen. Brewers manager Pat Murphy, who's been dealing with a bad head cold on this road trip.
Yeah, no question. Savali he responded very well after the first inning and made big pitches in the second inning and settled in the third, fourth, and fifth, and very important. And then Rob Z continues to do the job, and Koenig, Uribe, and McGill, very good again.
NFL at the Packers OTAs, head coach Matt LaFleur says take a close look at defensive end Edgerrin Cooper coming back in his second season, 10 pounds heavier.
He's certainly, his body looks different. I don't know if you guys could tell, but he's like 240 pounds right now. And I think there was a time when we came back last year where he was like 220.
With sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. Clint Eastwood is tired of sequels, franchises, and remakes. Join the club, bruh. The 4-time Oscar winner is a spry 95 years old and says he misses the days when writers would hole up in a bungalow on a studio lot and churn out movies like Casablanca. The 95-year-old star of In the Line of Fire and the director of Juror Number 2 says he plans on working for a long time. Eastwood says he'll work as long as he can still learn something or until he is truly senile. 95, a sense of humor, still making movies, and he can probably take you. Here's one of Pete's picks. If you like good old-fashioned manhunts, check out American Manhunt, the search for Osama bin Laden. At first, I had no desire to relive 9/11, but watching it with my kids was an experience. The American Manhunt series, not to be confused with Manhunt, the search for America's most gorgeous male model, includes 2 other mini-docs, the search for O.J. Simpson and the Boston Marathon.
I'm meteorologist Mace Michaels. Cloudy tonight, showers and even a few thunderstorms. Areas of smoke as well. Lows mid-50s. Hazy sunshine from some of the smoky areas for tomorrow. Highs mid-70s. Turning mostly sunny Thursday. High upper 70s. Currently at 75 degrees.
The Todd Albaugh Show.
We are not perfect here at Civic Media. Far be it. Certainly not perfect at this show. But one thing I can assure you of, our owner that I can see right through this glass right now, Sage Weil, has never once told me what to say and encourages us to speak the truth. And that's why, above all else, I'm proud to work for this company. And along with my colleagues, we will bring you what's really happening out there. And if we get it wrong along the way, we'll admit to that and correct ourselves as well.
Catch the Todd Albaugh Show at its new time, weekdays 2 to 4 on Civic Media and the Civic Media app. Mino and the Mayor.
We go to a place and you can we actually reserved it already, but they got the Swan. You know what I mean?
I don't know. What is a Swan? What do you mean?
Well, it's hard plastic.
Todd's got a smirk on his face. He has a comment.
Okay, so I've seen paddle boats.
That's
right? Are you talking about one that's actually built like a swan?
Yeah. I want a picture of that. That'll be my Facebook page.
Mino and the Mayor, weekday mornings 6 till 9 on 97.9 WGBW and 98.3 and 96.5 WISS. Jane Matnair and Greg Bach.
Coming up on the show, they
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Rich Locascio. You're listening to Nightlight with Pete Schwaba. I would like to introduce to you the Pine Tree Mauler from Marinette, Wisconsin. He is Pete Schwaba!
Thank you, Rich Locascio. Dynamite stuff. Hey, thanks for being here tonight, folks. We are barreling through a Tuesday night that feels like a Thursday night. With your help. So thanks for being here and all your texts and all kinds of fun. Did we lose Carol's texts, Conrad? What happened to those? Did she pull them? Can people pull their texts?
I don't think so.
Oh,
they're
she
there.
is. Oh, they're there.
Yeah.
Okay. Carol says, in answer to our question, what is your favorite Wisconsin city that you don't live in? Carol says, hi, Pete and Conrad. I live in Madison now. I went to college in Eau Claire, lived in Wausau for a couple of years. My aunt and uncle lived in La Crosse and love Eagle River and Rhinelander too. Bayfield is wonderful, Door County vibe, but fewer tourists, Minnesota license plates instead of Illinois. I'd rather go to Bayfield than Door County. Carol unloaded on that text. That's awesome. Thank you, Carol. And then Nick from Marshall says, love Dane County, especially the Madison and Sun Prairie area. Other than that, I kind of like the Oshkosh and Appleton area. People love their state. What are you going to do? We also don't like to miss a text here on Nightlight. And last night, our question was, what is your favorite game show? And our pal, Rich Locascio, who just introed me there, said, Press Your Luck, which I barely remember. I remember the title. Todd, do you remember Press Your Luck?
Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? This is how much I love Press Your Luck. I got to find it, but and maybe you can't even hear this, but I can try.
Okay.
Let's see. Can you hear that? Right? No whammies, and stop.
You have that at the ready?
Well, yeah, I'm a radio geek, and I happen to like game shows, so I got a lot of stuff. I've got the theme from Pyramid.
Whoa.
I got everything.
That Press Your Luck. I don't really go here very often on this show, but that would be great music. That would complement an orgasm really well. But can we hear that one more time?
All right, hang on.
Okay, honey.
All right. No whammies, and stop.
Well, that's kind of a
an
anticlimactic ending.
Do you know
that whammy?
Do you know the whole story behind that game show? What happened with it?
No, I don't.
Well, I know we were talking about spooky stuff tonight, but a guy was sitting at home watching the show for weeks and weeks. He was unemployed. I can't remember the guy's name, but he figured out that the little lights went in a certain sequence. And when it would always land on one specific square, there was always $1,000 or $3,000 in a spin. And he figured out what that was. He ran the entire table for an entire episode, and the producers are sitting back going, oh my God, he figured this out. And they had to cancel the show because of this one guy.
That is spectacular.
Yeah.
I love that. I wish I had that capability.
I wish I had any capabilities.
I know. I'd love just something I could monetize. I don't care what it is.
Right.
Todd Michaels is here, folks. He's the Mino and the Mayor producer in the morning here at WGBW and WISS. He joins us periodically to talk about fun paranormal stuff because that is his side hustle. He is a paranormal PI. And Todd, I'd like to get into lake monsters, but also vampires. So I don't know. You have a theory about vampires I'm more interested to hear. So why don't we start there just in case we run out of time or something? I would love to hear your thoughts in general on vampires, and then you do as much of a deep dive as you want. I'd love to hear your theory as to why. I think you said why they might be real or could be.
I think they might be. Now, first of all, you saw Sinners. Is that right?
I did, yeah.
And you liked it?
Loved it.
What was so good about it?
Well, I mean, what was great about it was not necessarily that it was a vampire movie. It was just great movie making. It was like Ryan Coogler is an incredible filmmaker. The music, the costumes, it was a period piece. And Michael B. Jordan played twins, Smoke and Stack. I love the ties to the Chicago mob. Then they go back down south with stolen mob stuff to set up a gin joint in the country. Everything about it was just cool. And then the vampires come in and they had to adhere to all these rules. And I wanted to ask you about that too, the rules that vampires have to follow. But I just thought it was great, a great movie top to bottom.
So what are some of the rules that they had to follow? Do you remember?
Yeah, the big one is they had to be invited in, like to the gin joint. You know, I know typically vampires don't like daylight. Depending what the movie is, sometimes they burn alive if they're out. Other times they just have burns. In this particular film, there were 3 people that had burns. So they obviously were exposed to some sunlight, but that was one of them. And then the stake through the heart, I think, was in play. Garlic, kind of the basics, but I had forgotten about the one where vampires had to be invited in and they couldn't just go in.
Yeah, I do like vampires. Excuse me. I'm not sure, I can't sit here and say I believe in them, but I do think that there's a lot of lore behind it. And I'm also a firm believer that we as humans can only imagine bad things that are possibilities. So that's kind of like my entry into vampires. I've had a long time interest in them since I was little. Tell you a little bit about my mom. She would let us watch the spookiest vampire movies. And like I was like 4 or 5, right? Stuff your mom shouldn't let you do. And then if I know one of my sisters is watching tonight, we would lay up all night scared half to death. I didn't sleep between the ages of like 7 and 15 because I was certain that something was going to come get me. But I've had this interest in vampires for a long, long time. And for some reason, I have this inkling that there may be some truth to it. And maybe it's just a romantic kind of view of what it would be like to be, to live forever in the darkness, on the dark side, all that kind of stuff. But there certainly are plenty of stories throughout the ages about vampires and all that kind of stuff. So pretty interesting topic for me.
Yeah. Very cool. And that was something in Sinners too. In fact, and I've said this before on the show, but if you do go see Sinners, you have to stay through the credits to really see the last scene. I don't know why they did that. It was a strange choice in my opinion, but they show you scenes of blues music. The story kind of goes up to Chicago again, and there's blues music, and then there's a scene, and one of the vampires said that day, talking about the final scene in the regular part of the movie before the credits, he said that day was the best day of my life and the last time I saw the sun. And it was just as great. And then they walk out of the joint and it was so, just stuff you forget about vampires. Like whoever created that entire, not genre, but their existence or fantasized about it really created a really kind of a fascinating creature, I guess.
And there are certainly some over-the-top bad vampire movies out there. Even Interview with a Vampire isn't. I think the book is good. I'm not sure that Tom Cruise was the right choice for Lestat, but that was an interesting movie. My favorite, Salem's Lot. Okay, like the original back with David Soul from Starsky and Hutch. Remember that?
Right. Wow.
That was a made-for-TV like miniseries. But when the Glick boys become vampires and they're floating outside the window, right? They come up to the window and they're scratching on the window.
Oh man,
there's nothing creepier than that, right there.
Right.
Open up. I'm here.
That was in Salem's Lot.
That was Salem's Lot. Yeah.
Oh, I might have to rewatch that. I'll tell you, it was kind of I think it's Anne Rice that did the Twilight, or was that? No, that was Interview with a Vampire.
She did Interview, yep.
But Twilight had some cool stuff about it, I thought. I liked how they just kind of assimilated into the high schools and they were part of the population. Like that I found fascinating.
It was, Twilight was the One Tree Hill of vampire. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it was, remember all those teenage angst TV shows that were on? That's kind of where I think they kind of spun off with Twilight.
That's excellent. My guest is Todd Michaels. He produces the Mino and the Mayor show here at WGBW and WISS every morning. And he joins us periodically to talk about the paranormal because he's a paranormal investigator. And it's always fun to talk to you about this stuff, Todd. Of all the myths, or whatever you want to call them, ghosts, vampires, werewolves, lake monsters, which we'll segue to, what do you think is most likely of those things to be real or exist?
Well, did you throw ghosts in that mix there?
I did.
Yeah. I think that those are most likely to exist. Only because I've actually run into some of that kind of stuff. So I've actually had experience with it. I've not had experience with lake monsters or anything like that. And I've not, knock on wood, run into a vampire. So for me, it would definitely be the ghost or paranormal side when it comes to the afterlife.
I don't disagree with you not knowing a fraction of what you know about that, but I would like to add lake monsters, because I feel like, and not just lake monsters, but sea creatures. Like, the seas are so vast, 7/10 of the earth, so deep. I know there's stuff we haven't really explored down there. I feel like that's where most likely, at least out of the things I just mentioned, something could be alive that we haven't discovered yet, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. And even some stuff that we do know that exists, like sturgeon, right? Those things are massively huge in some cases. I was going over some of the information that you and I shared with each other, and Lake Winnebago here in Oshkosh has its own monster from the past. 1889, the capture of a large sea lion. Apparently it gotten out during an exotic animal tour. And to me, I think you're right, because it's kind of like outer space. We've gone there to a certain extent, but there's certain areas that we cannot get to. And so we only know what we can actually experience. So the possibilities of things in the water, in the sky, are probably, mind-blowing if we ever actually found out what was all there.
Right. I don't know. I feel like I know I've mentioned this before on the show. I don't know if it was with you or someone else or a different guest, but speaking of underwater creatures, the Greenland shark is something I didn't even know existed until about a year and a half ago. They live to be 500 years old.
Good Lord.
And there was a picture of one on, social media somewhere, and it looked beat to hell. This thing was like, they move like less than a mile an hour. They live for 500 years. There are Greenland sharks, swimming very slowly, that were around before George Washington was born. That, to me, is an absolute phenomenon.
Wonder what they think of where our country is now, knowing George Washington back in the day, and having lived through the Civil War and all that kind. I would just wonder what the sharks of Greenland actually think.
That sounds like a paranormal investigation. I think it needs to be.
I'm out there with a microphone doing an investigation.
Using sonar to hear what the shark says.
That's right.
So there's a great, where was it? Oh, the Lake Winnebago water monster.
Yeah.
This came out in 2020 in the Oshkosh Northwestern and explained that the Lake Winnebago creature sightings originated with stories from the Ho-Chunk people. And apparently one was captured in 1889. That's the one you're talking about. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the large sea lion. Yeah.
Okay. So I have another one here from, is it Rocky? No, Rocky the Lake Monster. I thought there were two in, are we out of time, Conrad?
We got under a minute now.
Don't you know I'm talking about Tigerland?
I'm sorry.
You're thinking of Rocky and Rock Lake, right?
Rocky and Rock Lake.
Yeah.
That's in Lake Geneva, though. What do you know about that, Todd?
Just again, it's some sort of creature that apparently was flipping over boats and stuff like that, and bringing people under the water. I mean, what else could that be other than just us drinking too much in Wisconsin and losing our balance in the canoe and having to come up with a story of why you fell in, there's this monster.
Not ruling that out. All right, we'll have a couple more minutes with Todd when we come back after a very short break. Don't go anywhere, but anybody. We're going to wrap this up next. This is Pete Schwaba and Nite Lite on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Come work with us. Civic Media has a number of great jobs across the state. Open now at civicmedia.us/careers.
Appleton Cigar Company on College Avenue has been serving the community for over 25 years. If you are a cigar aficionado looking for a one-of-a-kind experience, you need to check out Appleton Cigar, which boasts the largest selection of cigars north of Milwaukee with over 706 cigars to choose from in a walk-in humidor. The Cigar Lounge offers an impressive variety of spirits and cocktails that pair perfectly with a premium cigar. For the full experience, come to Appleton Cigar at 415 College Ave, Monday through Saturday, 11:30 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. For more information, go to appletoncigar.com.
Are you over 50 and constantly feeling tired, bloated, or just a little off? Don't ignore it. Those could be signs that your liver is crying for help. As we age, our liver, which is essential for metabolism, digestion, immunity, and detoxification, needs extra support and protection. If neglected, it can leave you feeling sluggish and constantly off your game. That's where Active Liver from New Nordic comes in. Available in easy-to-take tablets or delicious gummies, Active Liver combines powerful natural ingredients like turmeric, milk thistle, and globe artichoke extract to help support healthy liver function. With Active Liver, you're giving your body an essential daily defense against toxins from alcohol, fatty foods, and sweets, helping you reclaim your energy, improve digestion, lose the bloat, and strengthen your immunity so you can look and feel your best again. Protect your liver and give it the support that it deserves by making Active Liver from New Nordic part of your daily wellness routine. Find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS, Meijer Grocery, or online at Amazon or newnordicusa.com.
Feeling better is about feeling all kinds of things. You want to feel healthy, sure, but you also want to feel heard and understood, valued, even, well, loved. That's what we want too. We're Amplify Health, and we think the best way to care for someone is to care about them. That's why all our treatments include a little empathy. Welcome to healthcare that's all about caring. Welcome to Amplify Health by Bellin. A little empathy changes everything.
Mark your calendars for heart-pumping, exhilarating action at the 2025 Queen Marinette's Run the River Powerboat Races in Marinette, Wisconsin on June 7th and 8th. The action will be nonstop as these high-octane boats reach speeds of over 105 miles per hour. Races kick off on Saturday and Sunday at 12:30 p.m. and run throughout the day. Free for the whole family, this is the perfect summertime weekend getaway. For more information, head to fishonmarinette.com and click on the events page.
Hey, it's John Mino.
And Jim Schmidt from Mino and the Mayor.
Want to stay in the loop with all things Northeast Wisconsin? Sign up for the WGBW weekly newsletter.
Get the latest local stories, updates on the weather, and a special feature from our Mino and the Mayor podcast.
It's your one-stop shop for real news and great conversation in Northeast Wisconsin.
Log on to WGBW.FM today and get signed up.
Real news, great conversation. Sign up today at WGBW.FM/newsletter.
Welcome back. This is Nightlight. I am Pete Schwaba. We are doing Tuesday some serious justice here today, folks. Great to have you with me. We have a great show tomorrow night as well. Chicago-based stand-up comedian Brian Hicks will be here, and our pal Todd Alba, host of the Todd Alba Show here on Civic Media. We're going to give Todd a quiz. We haven't figured out exactly what that quiz will be, but it's going to be a doozy, folks, so you won't want to miss that. Right now, we have a few more minutes with our pal Todd Michaels, who is here. Todd is a paranormal investigator and the help me, Todd. I am
the producer. Are you okay? Are you okay?
Exhausted. No, I'm tired. I don't know what was going on in the hotel room next to mine last night, but
they were playing Press Your Luck is what was going on.
But it didn't end with a wah wah wah.
That's right.
They knew what they were doing. So anyway, Todd is the producer of Mino and the Mayor. So, all right, Todd, so before we let you go, these two lake monsters were cool, and they're both in the Madison Lakes. There was one in Mendota and one in Monona.
Yeah.
Sea serpent type things. And that I can believe. They look like long snakes, right? That's believable.
I would think, there's got to be some sort of eels and stuff like that in those lakes. I just think it's interesting that the city of Madison is smack dab in the middle of the two lakes, and they have these sea monsters on either side. That is interesting to me.
That is interesting. And maybe they could there's got to be some kind of tunnel in there or something. But one of them was white with green spots. So that might that might be sort of what you were saying, people seeing things after a few pops or something.
Right.
But anyway, good stuff. So you'll have to tell us when you come back. We would love to have you on after you get back from Gettysburg and see what you found out there. That sounds absolutely fascinating.
I'm really excited about it. I love history. I've never been there. It seems ridiculous to me, but going to take the 16-hour drive out to Pennsylvania and see what we can find. I have to tell you something. Being a guest on your show goes way too fast. Being a producer, and Conrad probably knows this, you sit through those segments and you're like, when is this done? And then when I'm on the show with you, it goes so quickly. I couldn't even believe that the show's done already.
Conrad checks his watch 14 times per minute. Just how much time do we have left here?
Yeah,
and here you
exactly.
are saying, you're saying that you're enjoying yourself. So
I'm having a great time,
Happy
Pete.
about that, Todd. Well, you're always fun, buddy. I hope you have a great vacation and keep up the great work in the morning here with the guys. And just have a great night. So much fun as always.
You too. See you, Pete.
Thanks,
See you, Conrad.
Man, the beard is coming in great again.
I know. Look
Man,
at that.
Oh, he's still on. I'm not saying anything bad about you. I meant to mention that at the top of the show, though. I didn't know if you were going to bring it back or not, to be honest with you.
I've just been kind of lazy and haven't been trimming the hair or the beard, but yeah, this is like 2 weeks.
Come on.
I'm serious.
Wow.
You should
That's
see my
impressive.
back. You should see my
Did
back.
you go through puberty at like 7? What the hell's going on?
I'm still going through it.
I'm looking forward to mine. All right. Now you got to get out of here.
Good
Thanks so
night.
much, Todd. Have a great night. All right. Thank you to Todd Michaels. Thank you to Rob Thomas and all your texts and calls. Always fun here at Nightlight, folks. We'll be back to do it all again tomorrow. We got Steady Eddie text we got.
Yes, we do. I was just about
How do
to
you
say.
like that?
Yeah.
How dare I almost close the show before we get to a Steady Eddie
With
text.
4 minutes left.
Yeah, we're a little. Boy, I was off before too. I got cut off. I was. I'm not with it. Steady Eddie says, Pete, favorite city in Wisconsin? The Sun Prairie of 65 years ago. It's where I grew up. Looking back, it was like growing up in a Norman Rockwell painting. Its population is much bigger now, around 35,000. It's still a good place to live, but unfortunately, I think it has lost a lot of its small-town charm. I think he's right. I think it's more like a suburb right now. It's a nice place to live still, though. He says, I still get good vibrations when I go back to visit Sun Prairie, but it just ain't the same. Pete, you mentioned Des Plaines, Illinois. 2 years ago, I spent a week there one night. Steady Eddie getting in a little jab at Des Plaines. Steady Eddie hits all the big spots. Yeah.
I spent a week there one night.
Yeah, I think he's saying, well, that would be he was bored. No, he was saying he packed a lot of stuff into one night. That typically means like you really did it up right.
Okay.
And if you say like, I spent a day there 1 month, it's like the comic that says, folks, I've got 5 minutes of material and I'm going to pack it all into a 45-minute set.
Okay.
Kind of
Yeah,
thing.
I get it. Nice text, Steady Eddie.
Exactly. Thank you for all your texts and calls as usual. Do we have time for Dana Carvey now?
It'll cut it close.
Let's squeeze it. Well,
Yeah.
Is it a minute? I don't want to be rushed.
Why don't we should how about the second segment tomorrow? We bring
All right,
that in
second
full
segment.
force.
All right, we got to play that other one too. And tomorrow night we have to figure out a quiz for Todd. Maybe we give him a Wisconsin City quiz. He's lived in a lot of different places. Todd was in politics. I know he worked for Dale Schultz, a Republican congressman or assemblyman here in Wisconsin.
I mean, he's been all over Wisconsin too,
He
so there's
has.
always
So he might know
a
all this.
geography quiz in there.
That's true too. We could do that too. We'll figure something out. Vicky on the stream says, "Great show, thank you, Vicky." How did she do that, Conrad? That's kind of a cool little graphic.
Oh, that's me.
Are you? Oh, you did that. How did you do that? Is that like AI?
Everything's AI with you now.
I know you put a poster of a sea serpent.
It's Nessie.
Nessie looks like a stick in the water. And I'm not
Yeah.
saying Nessie doesn't exist, but it's basically Nessie looks like kind of a harmless, almost friendly creature. And you put this Jurassic Park thing that looks like it wants to bite you in half.
Well, did you see what I put under it? I said I thought he was more of a gentle creature.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so we got a lot more coming up tomorrow night, folks. It'll be fun. Thank you to Todd Michaels. Thank you to Rob Thomas. Thank you for all your texts and calls. Another wonderful night here at Nightlight with Pete Schwaba, and I couldn't have done it without you folks. On behalf of the lovable producer Conrad, I'm Pete Schwaba saying good night, Wisconsin.
Don't